The TCL C855 is an affordable 65-inch high-end UK model from the company with all the features that you could possibly want on board. It has all of the current HDR formats including HDR10, HDR10+, Dolby Vision, Dolby Vision IQ and HLG, as well as superb gaming features and a low input lag. Plus, it suits a living room environment with bright or ambient lighting, and it handles day-to-day TV viewing with aplomb. So, what's the catch? Hello and welcome to another video on AVForums. I'm Phil Hinton, and for the last 20 years I've been the site editor. I'm also fully trained and qualified by ISF THX and the PVA. I'm lucky to have calibrated and reviewed hundreds of TVs over the decades, and in this video we're looking at the TCL C855 Mini LED. You can read the full in-depth review at AVForums, where we deep dive into the measurements and graphs in much more detail, and you can always find the latest TV reviews first on AVForums. Our YouTube videos will follow shortly after that. We have one of the largest AV and hi-fi communities on the web, and here you'll find owners threads from members who actually own the TCL C855, and where you can find out and ask more questions from those who own and live with the TV on a daily basis. If you enjoy our reviews and the community at AVForums, then please do feel free to spread the word on social media and other forums. The TCL C855 is the 2024 flagship mini LED TV in the UK lineup, with a 4K 10-bit VA panel featuring quantum dot technology and a mini LED backlight with 1344 separate full array local dimming zones, which are controlled by an advanced algorithm. The C855 is available in 4 screen sizes, starting with this 65-inch model at £1,299. There's a 75-inch at £1,699, an 85-inch at £2,299, and a massive 98-inch which comes in at a very reasonable £4,000. There's support for all the major HDR flavours, including HDR10, HDR10+, HLG Hybrid Log Gamma, IMAX Enhanced, Dolby Vision and Dolby Vision IQ. Plus, with the new Pentonic system on chip, we also get 4K 120 gaming with Dolby Vision. Moving to HDR, and as always we measured a series of window sizes in succession, including 1, 2, 5 and 10%, and so on up to 100% full screen. The TCL posts some very decent numbers, and when it comes to peak brightness, remember that it's only one factor when it comes to producing an HDR image and is not the be all and end all. From 1% we get 840 nits, 2% is 1182, 5% comes in at 1858, and the industry standard 10% window measures 2120 nits. These are impressive numbers, but also point to blooming suppression being employed to mitigate blooming around specular highlights. Also telling is that 25% measures 2288 nits before things to settle back down, with 50% measuring in at 1600 nits, 75% 1100 nits, and full screen 100% comes in at 871 nits. This does mean that the TCL is a bright TV with peak brightness peaks holding for a few seconds at the smallest sizes and averaging around about 1600 nits over a longer period. However, what is important is how the peak brightness is used in conjunction with the tone mapping and the local dimming algorithm. TCL has gone for an over brightening of the HDR look, which does clip detail with some content and can make colours and scenes look washed out. This means that the C855 doesn't display HDR10 content accurately to the PQ standards, as it over brightens the image. Again, this means that even after calibration, the TCL will not play back accurate HDR10 due to pushing the brightness. Dolby Vision content looks slightly better in this regard, but can also look a little crushed in the blacks and too bright overall. Wide colour gamut to DCI-P3 looks good on our saturation chart, with most points from 75% saturation are there or thereabouts. However, the gamut is restricted in size and it doesn't meet the full P3 colour space. We measured BT 2020 at 73% XY and 75% UV, with P3 coming in at 95% XY and 98% UV. With screen uniformity displaying a 5% brightness slide, the C855 is one of the cleanest looking LCD TV panels that we've seen in a while. Edges are still slightly lighter, but the uniformity is excellent, and this continues to be the case as we go up the brightness slides, with just the edges of the panel looking darker than the rest. With playback of films like Blade Runner 2049, where there are large areas of cloud or mist and the camera is moving, this doesn't highlight excessive DSE or dirty screen effect. Push it with fast motion and a uniform background and there is very light banding seen, but we're talking about torture test scenes here, not everyday viewing of football or sports, which are impressive. When playing 24 frames per second content and making sure that motion setting is switched off, we get the correct pull down applied to film content, with pans and movement looking natural without any unwanted judder or motion blur that's not already in the content. Just like last year's C845 model, the video processing employed in the C55 still produces upscaling results that are a little softer than we'd like to see. Some edges displayed obvious ringing within certain types of content, and where there's lots of straight edges within the image. Even with high quality HD sources, the processing and upscaling are not quite as polished as the competition, even at this price point. However, with the new Pentonic chipset being employed in the C855, we get excellent gradation and posterization control, with no obvious issues seen in challenging scenes where bright objects can introduce issues. Moving to HDR content, and this is where the TCL can excite and frustrate in equal measure, which is a familiar story for TCL. The peak brightness on offer is impressive, and the TCL can look very dynamic with excellent native contrast from that VA type panel, but it's the tone mapping and the dimming algorithm that continues to let this side down for those who are looking for accurate HDR content to the standards. Blacks are solid with a little crush seen in most content, but it's in the brightness and tone mapping that brightens the image just too much when compared to the PQ EOTF standard, and it washes out the picture and introduces clipping in the brightest details. This brightening and gamma adjustment also affects colour imagery of the scenes, with inaccuracies then being introduced to colours. There's also aggressive blooming suppression added, which can then dim down specular highlights that are supposed to shine in the brightest small areas, but these appear dimmer than large areas of the image that have been over brightened. This will be disappointing for most enthusiasts looking for better accuracy, but the vast majority of mainstream viewers will probably find the overbright images appealing. We'll hope that TCL will continue to take on feedback from those enthusiasts who want a little better accuracy for HDR and SDR viewing to the standards. The C855 also employs a 2.1.2 Onkyo branded sound system with a dedicated subwoofer on the rear of the panel and upward firing units to the top of the panel. There's support for DTS Virtual X and Dolby Atmos sound formats. Just don't expect any weight or authority to movie soundtracks or music. If that's important to you, then an external sound system will be required. There are two full bandwidth 48GB per second HDMI 2.1 ports and the ability to run at a maximum of 4K 144Hz with a gaming PC. With the latest generation of consoles, you get 4K 120 including Dolby Vision, AMD FreeSync Premium Pro, VRR support, ALLM and EARC support is on a separate HDMI 2.0, so you don't lose one of your 2.1 ports if you're using something like a soundbar. Input lag measures in at 14.8 milliseconds for 4K 60, which can be reduced to 9.6 milliseconds using the refresh settings in the menus, and with a 120Hz input, it's 5.3 milliseconds. The TCL C855 is a great looking TV with a very nice finish with good use of materials, and although these are plastic, for the majority of the construction they're really good quality and the finish looks high end. The pedestal stand has a metal plate at the bottom with a plastic leg that then joins to the TV chassis. There's a chrome logo on the right hand bezel with a premium mini LED logo to highlight that the C855 is indeed a premium set for 2024 from TCL. The provided remote control has been updated for this year and is a small metal silver finished affair which feels weighty and worthy of controlling a premium TV set. Other manufacturers really should take notes here. The TCL is a great TV for any mainstream living room with bright ambient lighting and users who want to watch a mixture of normal TV, sports and gaming with the occasional movie thrown in. It's not for image enthusiasts who want a display for critical movie watching in dim surroundings and are looking for image quality to the industry standards in SDR and HDR. Nope, you need to look elsewhere for that. And we hope that TCL will take on the feedback with regards to the over brightening of the image, especially with SDR and HDR10 content, where details clipped and the image is washed out because of the brightness boost. Given the capabilities of the C855 in terms of peak brightness and the number of zones available, with some tweaks to the tone mapping and the dimming algorithm, they could be competing at the top table when it comes to image quality, so I really do think TCL needs to pay attention here. For everyone else, the TV offers up the kind of mass market performance we would expect when it comes to a normal living room with ambient lighting and watching everyday content or playing games, and it does so at a very reasonable price for the screen real estate on offer. It would make a very good second room TV in bright conditions, as well as a large gaming monitor for console fans, and as such, it's recommended for those use cases. If you've enjoyed the video, then please do like and subscribe, and please consider sharing this with your friends on social media. If you want to find out what normal users think about the TCL C855, you can also head over to AVForums and read the owner's threads. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.